Today we have a very special guest. We're very excited. Friedrich and I are very excited to have someone who was actually there at the taping and actually for the entirety of Iland. We've been working really hard to get this guest, and we're so excited that we are actually able to have the special guest here with us. It is my privilege and my absolute delight to introduce Egg.
Hi, my name's Egg. I'm 200 million won. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah. I would say my drag aesthetic is very ancient. It's very proverbial. It's definitely giving artistry. It's giving
Excellence.
I was saving that one for later. I only had 3.
I was like, I'm going to sprinkle in some egg puns. And I was like, how many do you have? And he said 3.
No, I only have 2.
And now I have 2, girl.
Here's the deal. We watched the finale.
We sure did.
We know the results. We don't know the order. We didn't know the order.
We didn't know the order.
All of them.
Yeah.
I would say we knew 2.
And we didn't know this final performance. It's like we know the most about this episode.
Even though
we don't
know anything about the episode.
Very wise. Egg, you're so wise.
Thank you. Here's what I want to say about this episode. I think this is a bad finale. For a multitude of reasons. And this is not their fault. It's the fucking pandemic. Like, there is no energy because they have no one to feed off of.
Yeah.
Then they give the speech, their like thank you speeches. It's not in the moment. They're not, obviously they're overwhelmed and like a few of them cry, but it's not to the same level of like Gyuvin forgets his English or Kim Ji-woon can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think there's just like an energy of the excitement of like having an arena filled with people or even a studio filled with people. Another reason is we need to talk about the elephant in the room.
That you're an egg.
Thank you. And the elephant in the room is Park Jimin.
Oh, we're just right off the bat talking about Park Jimin.
I think Park Jimin only because in the booth when they cut to cameras, they cut to him so many times. And I would lay. I'm not kidding. I look crazy right now. I'm wearing an egg costume. I understand, but I would lay down. I would break a shell. Okay. For Park Jimin.
Mama, I would sit on that wall, girl, and have my great fall. You would be on the wall, and Park Jimin would walk by, and you go, Park Jimin! And then fall off.
I would die for Park Jimin. I love him.
J-Hope is so excited to be there.
Why are you not focusing on J-Hope? I mean, I get it. Jimin is in the front row. He looks like Jimin.
Yes.
But
I mean, he looks heavenly in this pink hair.
It's like a blondish.
It looks pink in the lights.
In the lights, yeah. It
looked pink in the YouTube screen capture video we watched because once again,
I think it's the Samsung app.
Can one of you
tell us? Can someone come over
and update our app on our TV?
We don't know what we're doing.
And then log in.
Jimin and Jungkook, the maknae line are just like,
what the?
What are we doing?
Because they kept going back to Jimin, you can tell that probably halfway through, Namjoon was like, "Girl,
you can't be leaning. What are we doing?"
I don't know why they keep showing you, but girl, you gotta look interested.
And I'm sure they, to some I have no doubt that they're, but yes, like, it's so
to be forced to sit there for like 2,
when no one is doing anything.
We watched this in 2 times speed, girls.
We watched the whole thing in 2 times speed. The only things we didn't watch in 2 times speed were the performances and the clip packages.
Clips, the clips that are still inside.
Everything else we watched in 2 times speed because, girl, it was 2.5 hours. And I would say the drawing out of each one is really egregious too.
Yeah,
it feels really long. Okay, the other problem is we know the outcome.
That's
to
true.
Some extent, we know the outcome.
That's true.
So there wasn't. I wasn't able to be gooped and gagged. There was some goop and gag. that I didn't like. Heesung's placement, I was very shocked by. Sunghoon's placement, I was shocked by. But they weren't goopy and gaggy enough to be like, oh, because I knew they were still making it at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure, the goop is like Ricky made fourth.
Yeah.
But like the bigger goop is Ricky made the group. You know what I mean? Like, that's...
So not goopy, not runny.
No, it's
over
a hard-boiled.
Oh, hard-boiled.
Okay. Yeah.
People loved how you spoke for women last week.
Well, I'm a truth teller. Okay. Crystal ball.
Crystal egg. Fabergé, bitch.
Fabergé, bitch.
That's a good drag name, Fabergé.
But you wear egg.
But it's all eggs.
It's all eggs. It's all patterned eggs.
Yeah.
This is so stupid. Stupidest shit I've ever done.
I don't know. The bob was pretty horrendous. I'm not gonna lie.
No, the bob was iconic.
No, the bob was disgusting.
No. Babisha? There's 7 members. 6 are being decided. Top votes. 6 are global votes. Or the votes, I should say. The last person is producer pick.
Yes. So this was a change, right? This is not your produce moment. This is not produce.
Okay.
It's not boys plot. Do you think it is checked and balanced? With this show, with what they've shown in this show.
I mean,
you can't do this at like Boys Planet because they've never given like the producers like really any big.
No, they didn't have any kind
power
of sway or anything.
Really,
other
just
than
in
just
first,
like
the first ranking. Yeah.
That's a good question. Thank you for asking that question.
Yeah.
Here's what I will say. I was shocked that they showed who actually got what placement in terms of votes.
I know.
I thought they were just not going to show Kay, Daniel and Sunoo's placement. And then they just picked Sunoo out of 3. So you'd never know. So it was shocking to be like, he actually got 8th, but so ended up in the group. He wouldn't have been picked. And let me say this. When I was on prom court, because bitch, I was on prom court. And I wore this actually to prom.
To prom.
It's gorgeous.
FFA.
Future Farmers of America, absolutely. My chicken coops.
안녕하세요, coops.
I was producer picked, meaning that's not really what happened. Somebody was like, "Oh, I'm not going." One of the guys was like, "I'm not going to prom," and I was number 11, so I snuck my ass in there. And baby, was I? Did you think I was the one who was like, "Oh, well, now I really don't feel like I'm part of prom court"? No, baby, I ran prom court, honey. I said I'm 11th. I'm first. I don't care that Kim Ji-young was 8th. It doesn't matter. You made the group. You're in the group. You're getting the money. You're signing the contract. You're doing the deals. You're partnering with Miss Gucci.
Yeah. You're bringing home the bacon.
Yeah.
An important part of a balanced breakfast.
Part of this complete breakfast. Do you feel like it's rigged? I do want to ask you this. Not rigged. Sorry, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. Do you feel like there's a checks and balances? I just realized that you have the fucking...
I've been sitting here this entire time and all you've been thinking about is your stupid runny yolk. I probably would have done 2 instead of 1.
You would have done 5 and 2?
Yeah.
Do you think it probably still would have... It still probably would have been those 2.
I think it would have been the same 2. It would have been Sunghoon and Sunoo.
Okay. Let's find out. Let's do some data analytics.
Because now we've got a STEM correspondent. Queen. Yes.
Yeah. Show who is getting the highest votes from a random assortment of countries. The USA. They've moved on from Daniel. They're now all in on Jay. Malaysia.
Still Jake.
Hot on Jake. Egypt. Hot on China is Sunghoon, and South Korea is not Sunoo, it's Jungwon.
It's Jungwon.
This is probably the moment that Sunoo was like, now wait a damn minute.
Yeah.
Because the rest of this episode, well, after the performances, Sunoo looks...
like he's about to throw up.
Like he has bubble guts. Like he is like...
Yeah.
He doesn't look great.
Like a rotten egg.
First of all, they perform I Incredible.
They could have debuted this 9.
I think this is a very strong 9.
Yeah.
This is a super strong group if they had just debuted all 9 of them. Honestly, everybody in part 2.
12-person group.
And then they perform a song called Calling Run to You. This is the original song for the episode.
It is the Signal song Thunderpuss remix. they reuse the lyrics and they add this familiar beat, I would say, to the community.
It's definitely, it feels like the gayest song they did on the show.
It's the gayest song.
And I think sometimes people confuse Baby Girlism with gay. Chamber 5 is Baby Girl.
Not a gay song.
Not a gay song. Gay men are not seeking out. I am. I know that I don't speak for my community. Okay, yeah. I seek out Chamber 5.
For the gays or for the eggs?
The yags. And take that however you're taking it. But most gay men, first of all, most gay men like girl groups. So
most gay men like I've. So
most gay men like Twice. Most gay men like play Blackpink. In America. I don't want to hear about blobbity blobbity blah. I don't care. I know South Korean men like Baeko. I know.
Oh, we know.
And so do I. Thoughts on the song? Good.
This is probably my second favorite song of the show. First is Chamber 5.
Original song?
Yeah. I mean, should I address it now? I didn't end up really liking any of the Iland songs. They're not songs that I would put in my playlist, unfortunately. The closest one I would is Chamber 5. None of the songs felt like had the energy. Boys Planet songs did. Even honestly, the Fantasy Boys songs did. It felt very serious. Like all the songs felt like this is our dream, this is our passion, and this is like serious. And I think that was a decision to be like, to make us stand out. It felt like this is what stands us apart. We're a prestige survival show. We're not for the masses.
You're supposed to view this as like a higher caliber. I would say it definitely has the aesthetic for sure. And I think in probably part 1, they were so in that field that like in part 2, they did allow them to show a little bit more lightheartedness.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that was probably feedback that they had gotten.
Yeah.
Of being like, it's real dour.
It's real, yeah.
It's not, I don't even know if dour is the right word. It's more just like, it's so self-serious. And like, I think there is a level of like, I understand that like
they have to show how hard it is.
They have to show how hard it is.
Yeah.
And also I think still a lot of the South Korean public does not view idols as like artists. I think most pop stars are viewed differently than like a singer-songwriter or stuff like that, even in America.
Yeah.
Pop in general, because it's popular, is usually like regarded as less than because it is commercially more successful.
Right.
That has nothing to do with any. That has only to do with like people's perception of whatever. Anyway, so I do think there was that probably at I would say the core of the egg, the yolk.
At the yolk
of the egg. That was probably the idea. Was like, well, we want to present a show that does treat like how hard these kids work for this goal. How much time and effort they put in. We really want to put that on display and make people realize that it isn't just some, I mean, the way people talk about K-pop being like a manufactured, and of course to some extent there is an industry behind them.
The quote unquote manufacturing is this. It's the training.
But it's the work.
It's the work.
Yeah. It's years that you don't spend at school with friends doing that, like having a job basically.
Yeah.
Speaking of drag, can I say this? Jay was beat to the gods in this episode. I don't know what makeup artist,
but she went off, bitch.
Bitch, the contour, the lip gloss.
I could also imagine a world where Jay was like, yeah, I started watching these makeup artists on YouTube and they started doing these contours. Do you think we can try that?
Jay looks so good. Every time they cut to him, I was like, Jay!
Yeah.
Jay looks like a different person in this episode.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Speaking of Jay, so they go into the breakdown and Jay wanted part 4. This was a whole thing. Kay gets part 1. He's also the leader. Heesung gets 2. Jungwon gets 5. Sunghoon gets 3, I think.
But everyone wanted part 4.
Everyone wanted part 4. Jay doesn't get part 4. So once again, the narrative continues that Jay is like passed over for someone else. And listen, he stuck with this narrative the whole show. The show stuck with this narrative for him the whole show.
And he brought it right at the end,
and
too.
honey,
the hits just keep on giving.
Yeah.
They give everyone a leader position.
Yes. This is funny.
This was funny.
This is fun. This is fun. This is what we like to see.
There's a family where like they're assigning everyone a family.
Yes.
It's like he's taking care of the parents and then who's everyone.
Yeah.
But then they're also doing the positions. And Jake and Sung-hoon are the tension leaders.
Oh, yes.
But I think it translates to like they're the woo girls. They're the ones that's like fighting.
Yeah. Let's go. Okay. It was very funny. And I think Heesung was the vocal leader. Mm-hmm. And Jay was the life leader.
Yes.
So he cleans.
Because he cleans.
He cleans and cooks.
There is this clip later of Jay.
Oh my God. Because
they're kind of like making fun of how much he nags.
Yeah.
And there's this one where everyone's in the bathroom for some reason, and he just lifts up a dirty towel. And it's just like,
what are we doing with this?
What are we doing with this?
Excuse me.
What are we doing with this? And just starts picking up dirty towels.
It's so good. There's a Samsung that comes and Dubu. They come to see the midterm. And once again,
they do what they do.
The standards are not up to where Samsung wants them to be. Fine. And then they give them letters, which is very sweet. They like give them posters that they all written of like
and
things
starts
for all your
crying.
Heart. It's very sweet. They do these self-promo videos. Now, this is where you get one of the most iconic pieces of culture, of engene culture. Which is Jake doing the like, once upon a time, there was a little prince named...
Aussie boy named Jake.
And he wanted to be an idol.
The combos are so funny because when they were doing Heesung, he's like full boyfriend, and
doing the like classic,
and Jay being a neurotic, and Sunoo like being obsessed with how he looks on camera.
Yeah,
they kept doing like a million takes because Sunoo was like, look this way, and Jay was like, I have to get the flowers correct, and then Daniel was like Daniel was making a TikTok, girl. That is a Gen Zer girl.
He did a voiceover and then walked around to it. It's funny that they all came up with it is kind of impressive that none of them are the same.
Yeah.
They almost, I was like, I wonder if they got treatments from
a writer
or something, but like
do this. No, they all felt like exactly what they would do.
Yeah. It was very impressive.
Yeah.
But I was also I was impressed with all the boys from Boys Planet that had to do those too.
I love Niki doing Michael Jackson. This kid is it's the most adorable, obviously. It's so clear.
He walked out in that outfit with the hat and the jacket.
I was like,
and then he was like, I'm going to do Michael Jackson. And we were like, no, yeah.
No, yeah.
No, that's clear.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah.
No,
for sure.
And because it's Niki, he was like, let me do that again. Let me do that bit again. And Daniel literally was like,
oh, Daniel's beatboxing.
Yes, he's beatboxing for him.
Wow, RJ.
And Jungwon was a sheep because yang is sheep.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's why. Okay, that's funny.
So he was like, I'm a yang.
That's so cute.
And so he's outside. Jake was like, you should eat grass. And so he was like, oh. And then tries to run to the blackboard. It's so cute.
All of them are really cute. It's a good time. Sunoo does like an Instagram
post.
Box. Yeah.
Kay is doing full aegyo and he can't do it. He keeps making himself laugh. Oh my God. And Sung-hoon is like, girl.
Just get today. This is a 40-second video, girl. It's really fun. That was the most fun bit. Like that was the most frivolous kind of thing I feel like we've watched the whole show.
Yeah.
It was very fun. You listening, watching, who watched at the time, Nate, if you're watching, drop in the let us know. I'm curious.
What did we think of the name?
What were people mad? What did people think the name could be?
And what was the reaction?
Like when we were doing Bepler?
Yeah.
Nobody ever actually thought it was going to be Bepler. But like I was like, oh, it's going to be, what did I say? It was going to be Galileo.
Galileo.
Fine.
Come Galileo, Leo. Unfortunately, Twinks was not picked, even though it was on the short list.
Twinks could have been, this could have been Twinks.
This could have been Twinks.
I'm curious what people thought. Answer me what the consensus was that they were going to call it. And then what the reaction was to the name when it was revealed. Because I actually like ENHYPEN. I think it's cool. It's annoying that people can't pronounce it.
ENHYPEN?
Yeah.
Because when you're reading it, you see the hyphen.
Yeah, but a lot of people say ENHYPEN. And it's not. Okay. So I wrote here, bang PD, you gotta smile.
Okay, he says it. He's like, I feel like I'm more nervous than you guys. He does look nervous. He does look very nervous.
Sure.
He also...
It's got a lot writing on this.
Yeah. He also can sense a rainstorm is about to come because Mama...
His lumbago is acting up, honey. He is... I thought Yoongi was the one with the shoulder problem. Miss Girl, what is going on?
This girl was like the barometric fucking pressure, bitch. Damn, girl.
Oh my god.
Ooh, rain's coming in. I gotta bring the sheets in. Ooh.
It's wild. All 9 get a certain feedback.
Something, yeah.
Jungwon is told that he's did a great job. Jake is like he is the master of growth on the show. Because he's had the least time of training. Daniel's part, even though it was short, he was still able to shine during it. Jay did really well. They were all complimented. Nobody was getting like a bad critique this episode. It would be silly to do this at this point because you don't know who's going to end up making the group. So it'd be really stupid to be like, Jungwon, it looked like you were a little off, like you were off beat, and then he gets PO1. Like that would be wild.
What is the point of doing a final test?
Oh, here's another question I have. I have a lot of questions for the audience today. Audience, has anyone actually ever changed their fucking live vote based on the performance?
Yeah, so if you girlies were watching it and then was like, oh yeah, I didn't like, heesung seems like a weak center for that number 2 spot. I'm changing my vote to Daniel.
Yeah.
Like, are people doing that?
Nobody's doing that. They're going to perform no matter what. They're going to perform an original song no matter what. It's the fact that they like frame it as being like the last test when it's like, no, it has not. They could sit on stage and sing a ballad, and sometimes they do.
Sometimes they do.
And that for this wouldn't affect.
Our first balladless survival show that we've watched on the show.
I'm not surprised.
Because the whole damn show was a ballad.
No, because they don't care about vocals.
Oh.
That is just not the emphasis of Iland.
Yeah, but I don't like the conceit of like you get final boost of points, like in Fantasy Boys,
that was stupid.
Or like this is the last test. I almost like the Boys Planet version where it's like these are 2 concepts that they may do. Here it is.
Yeah,
like,
but even then, that was still technically their last test.
Yeah, because they still like assign themselves. I almost wish it was like a.
And like J-Stans are still mad at Hanbin for it.
J-Stans are yeah, I will never forgive you, Sung
I will never forgive you, Sung Hanbin. Iconic piece of culture.
Iconic tweet. I will never forgive you, Sung Hanbin.
You know who gets the best compliment? Jungwon is called out by John Jungkook.
John
John John
Jungkook.
John Jungkook.
Yeah.
And he
basically was just like, yeah, as far as that someone who stood out to me, Jungwon, I think you stood out to me. That was it.
I would have peed my pants. Jungkook?
Jungkook knows my name?
Of BTS? Bye. I would die.
You look like Jimbo's character.
Now, bitch, let's talk about people who cry. Because they get the classic finale, meals and letters from home.
We eat this up
I don't care.
Every instance that we've gotten it, we ate it up.
It is very hard to be an artist, to be a performer, to have these opportunities without incredible support from your family. And I love that they show these because it shows how supportive these families are of these
Their
kids
dreams.
chasing their dreams. It's amazing.
Do you have a favorite?
It's obviously Sung-hoon because he loses his mind.
Yeah.
In a way we have never seen.
It's never seen from him. And you know what? When his mom was like, when you were training for ice skating, I was there with you every day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, almost like that's the part I miss.
Yeah.
Because I can't be a part of you training for this. So I just have to trust and believe. And I do that it's going okay and that you're doing well. So I hope it is. And I think that shook him and that shook me too. Of like, oh my God.
Bitch, that shook me.
Girl, your shells were cracked, bitch.
I would also like to shout out Daniels because he kept doing this bit where he would like get close to crying, so he would start screaming. It was very
like,
funny.
Ah! Yeah.
He is, as the show has progressed, I have seen him be 14 years old more and more.
I know.
It's very sweet.
Yeah.
And it is also like you're 14 years old.
Yeah. If he's not in this to
girl,
the world.
We're not even speaking that into fruition. The whole thing is great. Getting meals from home.
Kay, I thought was really sweet. He also couldn't keep it together.
And he had to he's translating into Korean.
He was translating into Korean while he was
read
reading
it to each other, which I also thought was very sweet that they felt comfortable enough. They all feel
comfortable
comfortable enough.
You know what it reminded me of?
What?
In Exchange 2 when they were reading the letters that the exes wrote to them and they were all crying. One bin is like, I hope you treat one bin better than I treated him. Iconic.
One of the best. One of the best.
Truly.
One of the best things of all time.
Period.
I'm going to make it unequivocally clear. We are never going to recap Exchange 2. I am not watching 24 episodes of a 3-hour show. I'm not watching it again.
I'm watching
I loved it.
I loved it. It was truly one of the best TV shows I've ever watched.
I got my life every week. I am never watching that again. So we can just
it'll be you,
that.
me, and the senior center, girl. It'll be 60 years from now.
Hey, couldn't stop crying every time he walked out of the room. Okay.
They bought matching shoes to Jeju.
Yes.
And they didn't wear it.
Oh my
and they
God.
fought the entire time.
And then they got together in the end. Spoiler alert. Oh my God.
So good.
The eliminated boys come.
This was so sweet. They just run in.
They run in.
They're in the egg. And you go, please.
I opened my door.
Uh-huh. Your womb.
My womb. And there's
22.
11. There's 9 of them there. So 11 boys come.
Sure.
Yeah? Yeah.
And everyone was living. Everyone was screaming.
No, that's not right. That's 20. 13 boys come. 13 boys come.
Everyone's living. Everyone's screaming. Chu Jimin and Jae-ho had never seen the inside of it, so they were like, oh my God, this is so cool. And Daniel was like, let me show you the snacks, bitch. It's very funny.
The whole thing is so great. They're all so sweet with each other. Mm-hmm. You know who we were looking for specifically?
We wanted to see if the community was together.
Was gathering.
And they were. They were sitting next to each other when they were playing the truth game.
Which was also very fun.
Which was fun. It was like they were guessing the answers of the Islanders that came back.
Yeah.
Of what they thought.
Who's the hottest?
Who's the visual? Who'd you introduce to your sister?
Yeah. All that goofy stuff. And then they had they got to ask each other questions. It's just fun. The whole episode is
it's
all that is so low stakes.
Yeah.
It has no bearing on anything, but it's just fun.
I would have loved. Obviously, they didn't have everyone at Boys Planet, but that would have been a fun gag if they showed them all hang out one last time. They couldn't do all 99, obviously, because a lot of people had to leave the country.
Yeah.
But there was a good amount of them that came back.
Yeah.
So
So then they perform the signal song all together again.
I got pushed.
Humpty Dumpty. Off the damn wall.
Off the damn wall.
Shattered. I think this is my favorite song from Iland.
The signal song? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because it feels the most...
It is exciting. The most unique sounding of all of the songs.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like K-pop. Traditionally.
Yeah. It feels like
I think it's because of the guitar, yes. Probably. Yeah, it's really good. And this performance is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Ready? Let's get into it.
Marmara.
They announced 5th place first. They're doing 5th because 6th is
the last vote.
And then
7th is producer.
So 5th is first.
So they're due 5th to 1st, 6th, 7th.
So 5th heesung.
Is heesung. Sunoo looks
This is
so
if it was shocked. Not clear yet, this is the moment where Sunoo was like, "Oh girl, I'm out."
It is, these numbers are not going to add up.
No one looks good after this. I mean, heesung is like thrilled. He's like, "Great, I'm debuting." It's very sweet that they like cut to TXT. Obviously, there's like history there.
Yes.
It feels right that he is the first one to be announced.
It totally does.
And for him, I just feel like I'm happy that because of his trajectory to get to the show with like potentially being part of TXT and then not ending up debuting, the whole thing. It's nice that he was the first one announced so he could just like coast the rest of the time.
Totally.
And he has such a good relationship with all of the 8 of them who are potentially going to be in this group that like he could kind of just be like, this is going to work out no matter what it is. And it really could have any combination
could have been great, and he would have. Yeah, totally. Crazy that it's 5th.
Crazy that it's 5th. I will say that's crazy.
Nate warned us the numbers are going to change dramatically, and if you were to ask me, I thought it was going to be like at least Sunoo heesung 1 and 2. I would even see heesung as number 1.
I knew Sunoo was producer pick.
Yeah.
And I knew Jungwon was PO1. Yeah. Okay, 4th. 4th is Niki. Great.
That's amazing. He went up. This is probably his highest of the popular vote.
Yeah. I think he only went on an upward trajectory on the whole show,
which
is great. 3rd is Jake. 3rd is Jake.
That's amazing.
Malaysia said, we're getting this man into this group.
Malaysia,
and shout out to Malaysia.
Thank you,
Malaysia. Everybody say thank you, Malaysia. Number 2. Oh, she's falling.
Humpty. It's the egg emoji.
Yeah. You know what? You can't make an omelet without cracking a few eggs.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
We're waiting for the chirp, chirp, chirp.
2nd is Jay.
Okay, 2nd is Jay. 1st is Jungwon. Let's say it.
Let's just go there.
And that makes a lot of sense. After watching the full show.
Oh, yeah.
Especially these last couple of episodes.
Yes.
Jay is the star that they have been kind of building up. And Jungwon is the star. Like, he really got more and more time. And I think, honestly...
That he did not have in part 1.
Honestly, the last episode where Jungwon almost left is the reason why
that scared a lot of fucking people.
A lot of people.
And enough people who said to themselves,
well, Sunoo
has
fine.
So many votes.
Sunoo has so many votes.
Sunoo's going to be fine. Sunoo's in the group. We just need to make sure Jungwon's in the group too.
This is so funny because when Boys Planet voting was happening, everyone kept saying that too, of like, guys, don't feel comfortable that hanbin is 1.
And they were right?
Because he got 2.
Because
a little Chinese twink ruined his life and mine.
Okay. The ones that are surprising, I should say, is Heesung and Sunghoon getting 5th and 6th.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those are the ones that's like, oh.
But they've been so tried and true the entire time.
Here's what it says to me. Okay, Jungwon I think is on his own kind of narrative as to why he got PO1.
Yes.
This is okay. I want to say this too before you start fucking commenting. What I'm about to say has nothing to do with their artistic talent, blah 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 blah. I'm speaking narratively around the show.
Jungwon is 6 in age. He is younger than Sunoo.
Yes, he's younger than Sunoo.
I almost wonder if he is like Korea's mnet then, or that's who they're.
Oh, because Niki is.
Because Niki is Niki and
Japanese,
and Daniel's
American. And Daniel's American. Maybe
that's kind of what I'm getting.
Jungwon on this, the reason he's PO1, the biggest reason he's PO1, I would say, is probably because of what happened last episode.
Yes,
and the amount of people who did freak out.
Yeah.
Second, third, fourth, I would say have had strong narratives on the show. Jay, very strong. I mean, Jay is the star of the entirety of Iland.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Narrative wise, he is the main character.
Yeah.
They keep cutting to him because he gives them.
He has the most talking heads.
Yes.
In a show that doesn't really have that many talking heads.
Correct. It's crazy. Okay. Third is Jake. I think that also makes sense because of his growth.
And the producers have given him a story of like... The
producers have given... Yep.
You're growing.
Yep.
You're getting better every single time. But
he is so naturally charismatic and charming.
Absolutely.
In a way that I don't know if any other ENHYPEN member is. Jake is just very good at connecting in a way that feels so warm and genuine.
Yeah. I think it truly is because he's such a boy next door.
Completely.
Na, 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 na.
Yeah, neighbor, woohoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
When he smiles, it looks like he's smiling directly at you. It's crazy.
Yes, yes. He is one of the very classic, like, he's cute, and then also, he's a Matthew.
Yes.
Where he's cute and hot. Yeah. And you're like, what's going on here? Fourth is Niki. Niki's narrative started not great, but I think he gets a better storyline in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
And I think people really think he is the best dancer on the show. So, and in an age in Gen 4 where
people love
I think it was dance first.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. Fifth and sixth, Heesung and Sunghoon, much to their detriment, I think, the show has not given them storylines. The show has been like, Heesung is so good. There's no way you won't vote for him. So you should at this point assume he's in the group, and we're going to find everybody else around him. He's had some great moments.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've talked about them where he like got to console Taki in that one episode. That's incredible. He's been very like warm toward all the contestants. He's cried a bunch. He's like totally been a character on the show.
Yeah.
But he has not really had a main storyline except for the second episode when he was like, oh, I'm leader. I'm not leader. I'm leader again. That's it. That was it. It was the only time he had a real true, like, this is Heesung's episode.
And I would say Sunghoon never truly had...
Sunghoon never has an episode. And I would say this. Excuse me. Let me say this. Sunghoon is a very Korean beauty standard energy. And
Chanu, like...
just like his features are so striking.
Model-esque, yeah.
Model-esque, for sure. And he is incredibly talented. He has talents that these boys do not. Some of the all of the other contestants on the show do not
have.
I have no clue why they never gave him a storyline.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe they just couldn't find anything to work with, like narrative wise, but like the only thing
I could think of is the Chamber 5 mix switch.
That's it. And then it goes, it goes fine. It goes fine. It's not even like Sunoo is the standout.
Yes, it's still Sunoo's story, but it's like look at what Sunoo did.
Yeah, it's Sunoo and Jake. I think it's the second best like critiques in that episode. So it's not even like the story could be like, oh, he switches and then does so well that he gets first. Like, just think like it is his ice skating is treated as a novelty. and not as an asset. But even when he replaces Jay in that dance challenge from part 1, the narrative is still more about how Jay
is reacting to it.
Is taken out of the dance challenge, not how Sung-hoon is put into it.
Yeah.
They do give him a bunch of credit about being like, he's such a strong, he's practices a bunch, like da-da-da-da-da. Not to say that Sung-hoon is never talked about on the show, but like...
But I mean, going into, just like when we first started watching ENHYPEN and started following, I was always like, and Sung-hoon is the visual. Like, that's why he's there. I like couldn't really get his personality up until... like more that I was watching.
Yeah.
Because we also we watched the first N o'clock. Like we would, we were there.
I was there day 1, N o'clock dropped, honey. So we go to producer pick.
To the producer pick. Okay.
I'm going to pull the hood back up.
At producer pick, we are left with K, the previous PO1. Sunoo, who is constantly PO1 in the
Except
votes.
for today. Not today.
And Daniel, who is the maknae, the show's maknae.
We have the oldest young.
The oldest, the youngest.
And
the
best.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
My king.
The limpest wrist.
Jesus Christ.
And it's really crazy that it is like these 3 very specific personalities.
3 very completely different performers.
I think Sunoo was the way that it would have gone, no matter what. But it's a strong case for anyone could have been it. Because they're all giving different things.
They're all giving different things.
So it's just like who will complete.
I think it is clear it is not Daniel. I think their conversation up at the producer booth is...
Yeah, what did you... what did you think was going... Because it looked like Bang PD was like strong-arming everyone. But I also think he gets the biggest word. I think he's Ru. Totally. He's Mama Ru.
Yes. My choice and mine alone.
Yeah. The decision is mine to make.
K, he's incredible. He'd probably end up being the leader if he was in ENHYPEN today. I think they would have all chosen him to be the leader. He has a great narrative. He's had a great... redemption on the show, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Cons, he's not really giving anything different from what the other 6 are already giving. He's in the same mold, so they would be super cohesive. But there's nothing that stands out about him, other than like his prowess and his dancing ability and stuff like that. Sunoo is, I think, picks up what some of the other members are lacking.
Totally.
And they know that he can fill that.
Yeah.
And they know that they are lacking those things.
Yeah. They've made it very clear in the show.
Yes.
From themselves and also the producers.
Yes.
They're like, this is clearly what you're good at.
Cons is that he doesn't fit the mold that everybody else does.
Yes.
But that could also be skewed as a positive. So it's reminding me, so the BTS documentary just came out. Or just started. The one on Disney Plus. And in the first episode, they like have the conversation about how like Jimin was almost like not in BTS, and then they had to fight for him to be in the BTS. And it is a similar vein, it feels like, where it's someone who is not stereotypically what you would think as like a male idol. The amount of fans Jimin has, the amount of people who feel seen because Jimin is expressive in a different way that the other members are. I think a lot of people feel similarly about Sunoo.
Yeah.
I think Sunoo was my entry point to ENHYPEN. I love ENHYPEN. I'm a full engene. I would watch all 7 of them, like just sit around and go fishing in a fucking river, even though none of them end up catching the fucking fish, which I've fucking done. But Sunoo was my entry point. And I think from a pure, if you want to talk about the machine, the industry of K-pop, Sunoo can be an entry point that for people
that wouldn't have looked at
ENHYPEN. Would not have looked at ENHYPEN otherwise.
Totally.
And I think it's smart to broaden that spectrum, because also Sunoo is going to push... They're going to be able to spread their wings. Yes.
That they can access.
They aren't so narrowed.
they can go for the super bright stuff because they know they can.
Because they have a guaranteed star who can do it.
Absolutely.
And they have other people who are also very good at it. But like you can get away with it because you have at least one person who can fully pull off that concept and kind of help the others get to that point. Yeah. With K, obviously they could have still done bright stuff. It's
Absolutely.
They're all going to end up being idols. They're all going to figure out how to do it anyway. Yeah. But to hit the ground running, you want kind of a bunch of opportunities ahead of you. I think it was the smartest decision. It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking
to watch K
realize that he's not.
When they reveal that he is technically 7th, I was like, and it's hard because K knows he's 24
at the time.
I think 24 in Korean age, so probably 23. He's old. He's, in terms of idol years, he's older. I mean, he is like pushing his trainee kind of to the end of its limit. Luckily, he's Japanese, so he doesn't have to worry about like going to do his military service or anything. But I'm sure for him, it feels it's the end of the rope.
Yeah.
It's the end of his line. And it is, I'm so glad now. It's so comforting now watching it after an team and audition has happened because I know he's fine now. Mm-hmm. But like, for all you K stans who were watching at the time, this had to be...
I mean, the PO1 from the last episode does not make it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It sucks. It feels so shitty because he had been doing so well on the show.
And learning his lesson and like growing, even though he's the oldest.
Yes.
He's growing into like what it means to work together.
Yes. Is it fair that they do a producer pick and they pick Sunoo? I mean, we just talked about the logicalness of that pick. Is this fair? Is it fair for Sunoo to jump K and end up in the group? Now, as someone who ended up on my prom court, I would say yes.
I think so because I think they've established that this is the game.
Yeah.
This is what you're going to expect this. It is equal you is equal me.
Here is my second question. If the show was didn't happen during COVID, so they could have live studio audience, because there's no way they wouldn't have had a live studio audience.
Do you think people would have?
Here's my question: would it have been global votes producer, blah blah blah, like this, and they would just incorporate the votes from the live studio audience,
or is it like more traditional?
Or is it like global votes one episode? Live studio audience votes the next, blah, 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 and then a producer pick at the end. Is the format of the show inherently changed simply because
they couldn't have
an audience? We truly don't know.
I don't know. I do think Bang PD would have been like, the concept is like it's incubated. It's the egg. And so I want it to be insular like that. So I don't even know if they would have had a live audience until that last episode. If the show feels like that's the DNA that it already inherently has.
Sure, but I also think that they did that because there's part of it that's because
part two. I think it would have been part 2, if anything.
It definitely wouldn't have been part 1.
It would not have been part 1. I think they would have kept the same format, and then part 2 could have been with audience. Yeah. I could see.
I think this show, because it doesn't have a live studio audience at any point, there is a correction that happens. I think the best case scenario is you have producers having sway, global votes having sway, and a live studio audience who are actually in the room seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
I think the live studio audience bit is hard because I think there's still a way that you can skew, the producers can skew who gets into the live studio audience. Mm-hmm. If you want a specific person, you ask everybody, who's your bias? And if there's a bunch of people who has a person you maybe don't want on the show, you maybe don't let them in the live studio audience. Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it's important to have women in the room voting. I'm sorry. I think it's important. I'm not saying this again, but I think it's important.
I do think if there was a live studio audience and if Sunoo was not picked, it would not have been a happy audience.
I mean, it definitely feels like the Yujin chanting. This would have been the
Kim
Sunoo.
Sunoo's chance would have been happening.
It would have been so crazy.
It would have been really bad.
And then they announced K. Oh
and then
my
announced
God.
K. It would have been really bad. And I think if there was a live stream honest there, I think it would have been clear that they would have to pick Sunoo.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't already, obviously,
Yeah.
with no audience. But I think it would have been faster just to be like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's Iland.
I'm so glad I did not watch this in real time because, baby,
the amount of stress that I've been dealing with
poops.
during the pandemic.
No, girl.
Too, girl.
Nope. Absolutely not.
This was September.
Not.
I had just gotten laid off, and I would be stressed out if Sunoo didn't make it.
Oh my God.
I just found out I got laid off when hanbin got voted off. I would have truly.
Yeah.
It would have been bad.
It would have been a
girl.
bad, dark moment for you. Yeah. Can I say the last thing about this? At the end of this episode, you know what happens? They announced Girland. In 2020.
Girland in 2020. And the show was starting next year in 2024. Bold.
Listen, the egg costs... She's a lot of money.
Well, they had
build.
to... Yeah. Well, because remember, hanbin like mopped it, and so it got destroyed.
It got destroyed from the mop.
So they had to fix it for 4 years.
Yeah. Wow. So I'm curious to see if there is going to be a format change of any type if they do incorporate live studio audience for Iland 2. We're not saying, by the way, that we're watching
Girland.
We're just talking
We're
about
just
its concept.
talking because we don't know.
Or if they change it at all. Just curious what changes will come of it.
Yeah,
we might be taking a break from a survival show.
We might be taking a break for a survival show, so just stay tuned in 2024. What's to come? I hear there are some vocalists, maybe. Maybe you were so disappointed that vocals was not a focus here. That
I said 5th gen, I need my vocals back.
Maybe there's a 5th gen vocals survival show coming. Who knows?
Wow. With people I've seen in
With
person.
people
We saw CIX.
We saw CIX, that's right. With people that you know.
With our very good friends.
Yeah. Great job again, as always. Thank you very much. See ya. Happy New Year.